अस्सलामु अलैकुम वरहमतुल्लाहि वबरकातुहू। बहनों भाइयों, ये सामने जो बस देख रहे हो, सिटी साइन क्या लिखा है, सिटी साइट सीइंग लैंडुडनो एंड कन्वे। इस बस के अंदर हम आपको अभी बैठेंगे और हम कोशिश करेंगे कि ऊपर बैठें, ठीक है, ऊपर बैठें और यहाँ से सारे शहर का हम नज़ारा करें। इस बस के ऊपर हम बैठेंगे। इसका जो टिकट है वो है 12 पाउंड 50 पेंस और सिंगल भी है, डबल भी है, अगर आप जिस तरह आप चाहें। तो ये जनाब हर आधे घंटे बाद ये बस यहाँ से निकलती है और बेहतरीन है जनाब, ड्राइव करते हुए सारे शहर से आपको घुमाती फिराती है। तो आप इस पर बैठ के इस सारे शहर का नज़ारा कर सकते हैं और अभी हम आपको इस पर बिठा के सारे शहर का नज़ारा कराएंगे। अल्लाह ताला आपका हामी नासिर हो। दुआ में याद रखना, चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करो यार। चैनल को सब्सक्राइब करने में आपको कुछ नहीं जाता, कोई इसमें कीमत नहीं है, कोई पैसे नहीं है, कोई पाउंड नहीं है, कोई रुपए नहीं है। जो दिल करता है आपका, आप उसको करें, ठीक है। अल्लाह ताला आपको खुश रखे। तो बहनों भाइयों, इस बस के अंदर हम आपको सफ़र कराएंगे और आपसे गुजारिश है कि आपने चैनल को जो है ना सब्सक्राइब करें, ठीक है, लाइक करें, शेयर करें, हमारा साथ दें, हमारी सपोर्ट करें। इंशाल्लाह हम आपको बेहतरीन से बेहतरीन वीडियो बना के दिखाएंगे और दुनिया भर की सैर कराएंगे। हम जहाँ जहाँ जाएंगे आपको वहाँ की सैर कराएंगे। यहाँ दुनिया बहुत बड़ी है, अल्लाह ताला ने दुनिया बहुत बड़ी बनाई है और यहाँ इसके नज़ारे करें और आप यकीन जानिए कि ये आप हैरान हो जाएंगे ये आप क्या कर रहे हैं। ऐसी सी वीडियो हम आपको बना के दिखाएंगे कि आपका दिल खुश हो जाएगा। आप घर बैठे आप इस दुनिया को देखेंगे। अल्लाह ताला आपका हामी नासिर हो। हमें दीजिए इजाज़त। अस्सलामु अलैकुम वरहमतुल्लाहि वबरकातुहू। अऊज़ुबिल्लाहि मिनश्शैतानिर्रजीम, बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। बहनों भाइयों, ये हम टूरिस्ट बस के अंदर अभी बैठे हैं। ऊपर आ गए, यहाँ पर हमने टिकट दिया है 12 पाउंड 50 पेंस, 12 पाउंड 50 ऑल टुगेदर रिटर्न टिकट है। हम यहाँ से ये सारा हमें शहर घुमाएंगे, घुमा के लेके आएंगे और इसका भी हमने सोचा आपको इसकी भी सैर कराएं। तो अभी हम बस के ऊपर बैठे हुए हैं और ये सारा जो शहर है लैंडुडनो का, ये हमें सारा ये दिखाएंगे, घुमाएंगे, फिराएंगे और साथ में ही बताएंगे कि कौन सी जगह पर आ रहे हैं, कौन सी जगह पे जा रहे हैं। तो ये सारा नज़ारा आपको कराएंगे, ठीक है, हमारे साथ रहिएगा।
It's a cultural festival where musicians, singers, poets meet in a spirit of friendly rivalry to decide who's the best, and the members of the God-set circle uphold the druidic traditions of the ancient bards or poets. Of the 700 hotels in Llandudno, the ones here on the seafront were the earliest to be built. The first of which is the St George's Hotel here on the right. It was opened in 1854 and incorporated Wales's first water-powered elevator, or lift. Famous guests over the years have included Sir Winston Churchill, Otto von Bismarck, Napoleon III, Benjamin Disraeli, and William Gladstone. As we've travelled along the seafront, have you noticed the lack of garish and bright facades of these hotels? That's because the owners are required to use a pastel-coloured chart provided by the powerful Mustard estate when choosing a colour for the outside of the buildings.
ये मेरे राइट हैंड साइड पर सारे होटल हैं। ये फ्रंट में भी होटल है और ये बैक पे जितना आपको नज़र आ रहा है तकरीबन ये सारे होटल हैं। और थोड़ा सा आगे जाएं तो वहाँ पर आबादी है, लोग जो रहने वाले यहाँ रहते हैं। बाकी तकरीबन सारे होटल हैं। देखिए कितना खूबसूरती से उन्होंने बनाया हुआ है। ये सामने समंदर है, बेहतरीन, बहुत ही खूबसूरत। ये इस बस में हम बैठे हुए हैं, सबसे पीछे हम बैठे हैं। हमने कहा पूरी बस कवर हो जाएगी। माशाल्लाह सारा नज़ारा भी आपको देखने में मिलेगा। ये हमारे राइट हैंड साइड पे ये सारे होटल हैं। ये बस हमें सारे शहर से घुमा फिरा के वापस जहाँ से हम बैठे हैं वहीं हमें उतारेगी।
the taxman. The headquarters of the government's Inland Revenue Department was based here during the Second World War in 1940. Green Hotel was home to Queen Elizabeth of Romania for 5 weeks in 1890 while she was here recuperating. And we'll hear more about her later talk. The large Green Hotel coming up on our right was opened in 1860, but was taken over 2 years later by Dr. Henry Thomas.
1860 अंदाज़ा लगाएं इन लोगों की तरक्की का राज 1860 में ये होटल बना है।
Dr. Thomas offered a treatment called the compressed air bath,
और हमारे यहाँ
and some of his medicines included belladonna, Spanish fly,
अल्लाह पाक रहम भी करे हमारे मुल्क में।
On our right is the North Wales Theatre, venue Cymru, opened in 1994 by His Royal Highness Prince Charles, the Prince of Wales. It has one of the largest stages in the UK and has seating for 1,500 people. A new conference centre completes the project on this site.
देखिए मौसम कितना प्यारा है, बिल्कुल साफ़ धूप निकली हुई है, बेहतरीन मौसम है और घूमने का मज़ा भी इसी मौसम में है। सर्दी में कहाँ आप घूमेंगे, बारिश में, सर्दी में या ठंडी हवाएं हों तो उसमें बड़ा मसला बनता है। ये जो हमारे राइट साइड पे आप देख रहे हैं सब होटल हैं। यहाँ पर बड़े दूर दूर से लोग आते हैं, फैमिलियों के साथ आते हैं, फ्रेंड्स के साथ आते हैं, यहाँ रहते हैं। खाने का बेहतरीन निज़ाम है जनाब, आपको हलाल खाना भी यहाँ आगे पीछे मिल जाता है। 2 टेक वे ऐसे हैं जहाँ से हलाल खाना आपको मिल सकता है।
This is Gwyntamore, with 160 turbines 10 miles offshore. It is Wales's largest wind farm, with a capacity to generate 576 megawatts and power for 400,000 homes. And in the distance you can see the Little Orr. It is 141 meters high and a popular sightseeing, walking and hiking site. Just up ahead of us are the paddling pool and lifeboat station. The open space to the right is Bodavon Fields, home to Bodavon Farm Park, a free tourist attraction popular with families and people of all ages. We are now arriving at stop number 2 for Bodavon Farm Park. Please check with your brochure the times of our buses. This is the part of town known as Llandudno. This is a mostly residential area developed after the turn of the 19th century. Notice the brick tile roofs rather than the older grey stone.
ये भी घर आ गए हैं इस तरफ ना, ये लोगों के घर हैं सामने, यहाँ पर ही लोग रहते हैं।
It was built at the beginning of the last century and is dedicated to the memory of the Duke of Clarence,
ये सारे घर हैं
son of Edward VII and Queen Alexandra, and grandson of Queen Victoria. Many suspected him of being none other than Jack the Ripper, the notorious Victorian murderer. If this is true, it seems rather strange to have his name associated with a church. The Duke of Clarence died in 1892 at the age of just 28.
ये सारे रेजिडेंशियल एरिया, यहाँ पर लोग रहते हैं, यहाँ के रहने वाले हैं।
Ahead of us on our left is Queen's Park, named after Queen Victoria. However, one road down the left is called Romania Drive, named after another queen, Elizabeth of Romania, who stayed here for several weeks in 1890. She was a noted author of romantic novels, and on a visit to the National Eisteddfod, she was honoured with acceptance into the Gorsedd of the Bards under her pen name Carmen Silva. During her stay, she quickly grew to love the area and was always very complimentary about the standard of hospitality in Wales. Indeed, she was so fond of Wales, she actually learned some Welsh. When she left, she described Llandudno as a beautiful haven of peace. In Welsh, Para Pava Here. And to this very day, that's our town's motto. Through the trees ahead of us to our left, you may see a glimpse of an impressive stone building. Blind Veterans is a national charity that supports blind ex-servicemen and women who want to live in an independent life. The building was originally known as Lady Foresters, a convalescent home for the benefits of workers and their families from the iron industry based in Iron Bridge in Shropshire. The Rustin This area of town is known as Llanrose, part of the huge Worcester estate. Coming into view on our left is the pretty little church of St. Hilary. It stands on the site of a 6th century church and is the burial place of members of the Boston family. Most of the gravestones in the cemetery are black with the instructions of Lady Augusta back in the 19th century. Lady Augusta was a staunch supporter of the temperance movement, and as such, she despised leave and drink. Opposite the church, over to our right, once stood two public houses. Augusta did not want her church to be in such surroundings, so she had them demolished. Instead, she built first a couple house. A little further on, a stone building with a clock.
देखते रहिए जनाब, घर बैठे आप सैर कीजिए। बहुत ही प्यारा मौसम, ठंडी ठंडी हवाएं, हल्की सी सूरज की गर्मी और बेहतरीन मौसम।
To our right is Bryn Lupus Bro. Bryn is the Welsh word for hill, and lupus is the Latin and French word for a wolf. So basically, it means Wolf Hill, named after Hugh Lupus. Back in the 11th century, he was the first Roman Earl of Chester, as well as a famous nephew of William the Conqueror. At the tender age of just 19, he was virtually the king of Cheshire, with lordship over much Wales. This brought him great wealth, and a lifestyle not unlike that of Henry VIII some centuries later. Perhaps that's why history books often refer to Hugh the Wolf as Hugh of Bath, setting out from his base in Chester. He then tried
Speed
to
up.
subdue the Welsh.
मेरे ख्याल में ड्राइवर ने स्पीड मारी है, या चढ़ाई है इस वजह से।
Over to our left, above the trees in the distance, you can see Llandudno's very own Cleopatra's Needle. This obelisk was built simply as a landmark for the area's top hotel, Bodysgallon. You might just be able to see Bodysgallon's grey slate roof and parts of the building. The hotel can be seen more easily from the air, and indeed, some of the hotel's VIP guests arrive by helicopter.
क्या बात है भाई।
Looking ahead of you now, weather permitting, you will see a spectacular view of Snowdonia. Snowdonia National Park has been a protected landscape for more than 50 years. As we come down the hill, you will catch a sight of Conwy, its castle and quayside, and the River Conwy estuary. Coming up on our right is a pub called the Castle Inn, formerly called Maggie Murphy's. This name came from a song from the Boer War veterans that were once housed in this area. A copy of the song still hangs in the bar.
ये देखिए यहाँ पर भी थोड़ा सा
Over to our right then, you can see the turrets and battlements of Conwy's famous castle, which was built between 1283 and 1287, and commissioned by King Edward I as he took control of North Wales from the indigenous Welsh. Edward built all of our beautiful castles along the North Wales coast, at Caernarfon, Harlech, Cricket and Beaumaris. I'll tell you more about the castle as we approach it shortly. The first view is of the two eastern towers, and between them, a massive eastern wall. Story begins in 1283.
इसके अंदर हम गए हुए इस जगह को टाइम का मसला बन गया नहीं जा सके बहुत बड़ी जगह है यार बहुत बड़ी जगह कहीं जानी है
The castle walls have been whitewashed or some traces of which can still be seen on its walls today. What an incredible sight it must have been, standing leaning against the base of the dramatic mountains. Before we enter see the town's quayside at the end of the terrace of houses closest to us. You might spot a little red house, and again,
खनवे कासल इसको कहते हैं खनवे कासल यानी कि किला
just 72 inches wide and 122 inches high. So here we are entering the medieval town of Conwy. The castle today looks peaceful enough. The slits and arrow loops in the walls can fire missiles down onto anyone attempting to storm the castle.
ये हम सिटी टूर के अंदर हैं जनाब बस के अंदर बैठे हुए हैं
And visitors
शहर का हमें टूर करा रही है घुमा फिरा रही है बेहतरीन देखिए
This is where you leave us.
टूरिस्ट बस के ऊपर हम बैठे हुए हैं और उसके अंदर से हम आपको सैर करा रहे हैं आप करें मुफ्त में सैर ये देखिए किला यहाँ से बहुत शुरू हुआ था ये इसके अंदर भी जाने का जो है इन्होंने टिकट लगाया हुआ यानी कि हर तरफ से मुल्क और कौम का फ़ायदा
Our buses stay here every 60 minutes. Please check with our driver the time of the buses that will take you back into Llandudno. If, however, you are leaving us here, I do hope that you've enjoyed the tour and I'd like to thank you for travelling with City Sightseeing. Hello, croeso cynnes iawn i
बस यहाँ से आई है हम थोड़ा सा मिस कर गए हम
Outside the town walls in the town of Ditch Road, so named named because at the base of the walls once lay the town ditch, an open sewer where all manner of rubbish was thrown. The walls are about 1,400 yards in length, with 21 semicircular towers spaced out along them. Removable wooden platforms would have spanned the gaps between them, so that in the event of a hostile attack, the platforms could be removed, creating a break in the circuit, isolating those sections that were under siege. Back inside the town walls now in Berry Street, once called Burial Street, because here many of the victims of the plague of 1665 were buried. On the corner on the right is the white and grey stone building called Aberconwy House, a magnificent example of a 16th century stone and timber frame building. It was originally built as a merchant's house, and part of it dates back to the 14th century. Ahead of the bus, we see once again the magnificent castle. You can just see some of the traces of the limestone wash on the walls, and as we leave Conwy, look to the base of the castle walls at the oblong holes. They were known as latrines, and there are no prizes for guessing what came out of there. Any invader wouldn't dare to attempt to climb up into the castle through those holes. Look to our right. Two bridges. The furthest away from us is the tubular railway bridge, and the closest to us is Thomas Telford Road Bridge. Telford was a brilliant engineer and took great care in the building of this bridge by dipping the metal in linseed oil to preserve it. The bridge opened in 1826. The bridge beyond it carries the main railway line, and it was the first of Robert Stephenson's tubular designs and opened in 1848. And bridge repairs opened in 1958 to ease the increasing flow of traffic passing over Telford Road Bridge. The increased traffic flow in the 60s caused dreadful problems in Conwy, and so a scheme was devised to build a road under the estuary. As we cross over this next bridge, take a look down to the left, and you can see the beacons disappearing into the tunnel. Construction of this massive project began in 1986. Sections were then lowered slowly, one by one, then linked together. Finally, the trench was then filled in, bringing the riverbed back to its original level. It is Britain's first immersed tube tunnel, stretching for 3/4 of a mile and designed to last for 120 years. It was opened by Her Majesty the Queen, who cut the yellow ribbon, and her car was the first to travel.
अभी वापसी का सफ़र है, वापस जा रहे हैं, थोड़ा सा इसे शहर घुमाया सारा। राउंड अबाउट के अंदर खड़े हुए हैं। यहाँ पर कहते हैं राउंड अबाउट, हमारे पाकिस्तान में क्या कहते हैं, चुरंगी। कराची में कहते हैं चुरंगी, यानी कि चार रास्ते। देखिए भाई क्या क्या निज़ाम चल रहा है। तकरीबन आधे घंटे का टूर ये बस कराती है। आधे घंटे के अंदर आपको यहाँ से घुमा फिर आगे वापस जहाँ से आप बैठते हैं वहीं आपको उतार दें। ठीक है, थोड़ा सा बंदा शहर को देख लेता है, थोड़ा सा सिटी देख लेता है।
The single most important role that COVID played during the